Welcome to UNM News. I hope you had a good week.
We are here at the University of New Mexico.
We are here in front of the Supreme Court
After immense bipartisan pressure.
Thousands of people are marching through Washington, D.C.
The Supreme Court ruled in a 7-2 decision in
Their argument, it violates antitrust laws.
North Korea also promised to denuclearize by the end of the year.
They say hate speech does not equal free speech. Both sides are calling an immigration crisis.
Former Libertarian Party presidential candidate Gary Johnson.
The court ruled in Philip's favor.
North and South Korean leaders met Friday, vowing to formally end their 6-decade-long war.
To bring awareness to what they say is the plight of the African American community.
A new drug that combats the virus has hit the market.
Petitioning the court to hear their case against the commission.
Waged a war of words with President Donald Trump last year. Taking action comes in many forms.
Where you can see that Students for Socialism are protesting against President Abdallah and the College Republicans.
Tune in next week to find out the latest developments. Thank you for watching. I'm Andres del Aguila.
Former Libertarian Party presidential candidate Gary Johnson says he wants to end the two-party stranglehold and drop the hammer on the Commission on Presidential Debates. That is why we are here in front of the Supreme Court of the United States, where Johnson and others are petitioning the court to hear their case against the Commission. Their argument, it violates antitrust laws and the First Amendment.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Freedom brought about by inclusion. The nation's third parties champion that message to earn a spot on the presidential debate stage.
Open up the process so that it includes libertarians, Greens, and independents.
The leaders of the Libertarian and Green Party convened at the United States Supreme Court to announce their petition to urge the justices to hear their so-called fair debates lawsuit against the Commission on Presidential Debates.
Regardless of political party, this will improve politics in America.
Gary Johnson and Jill Stein filed the lawsuit in federal court in September 2014, claiming the commission is violating the First Amendment by limiting their free speech.
The Presidential Debate Commission is really at the heart of why it's rigged.
They also claim it is violating antitrust laws. They say the organization is comprised of Republicans and Democrats who are trying to squelch the competition.
You're not in the presidential debates. You're not running for president.
The D.C. Court of Appeals upheld a 2016 dismissal of the case in August. The court ruled their arguments were invalid. Libertarian Party Executive Director Wes Benedict says he was disappointed with the court's decision, but promises to continue the legal battle for inclusion at the Supreme Court.
We definitely are not happy with what the courts have done so far. We're going to keep fighting it. I don't know if we'll win or not, but that's what we won't win if we don't try.
The commission is a private and non-profit organization that oversees who is allowed to participate in the nation's presidential debates. A candidate must reach 15% in 5 national polls to earn a spot on the stage. The commission says on its website that saturating the debates would jeopardize voter education. Johnson, however, claims the commission is doing just that by setting an arbitrary rule, which he blames for his failure to win the White House and for the country's divisions.
But when you have a system like it is, both Democrats and Republicans have to kowtow to the extremes on both ends of their party.
They are currently hosting an online fundraiser to pay for the legal expenses.
A really small price to pay to potentially change politics in America.
Changing politics is their goal, but now it's up to the Supreme Court to decide if it will hear the case. This is Andres del Aguila reporting from the nation's capital.
We are here at the University of New Mexico, outside the bookstore, where you can see that Students for Socialism are protesting against President Abdallah and the College Republicans for bringing conservative speakers Christina Hoff Sommers and Ben Shapiro. They say hate speech does not equal free speech, and they are worried that by bringing these speakers, it will cause violence on campus.
The university should be hiding its head in shame instead of proudly hosting and using student fees to pay for these speakers.
The speakers reigniting the debate over free speech on UNM's campus are American Enterprise Institute scholar Christina Hoff Sommers and political commentator Ben Shapiro. These protesters are outraged that ASUNM allocated $10,000 in student fees to help the college Republicans bring the speakers. Students for Socialism co-president Kate Barr says conservatives spread dangerous ideas under the guise of free speech.
The best way to promote free speech is to promote totalitarian and fascist ideologies. Hate speech isn't free speech.
She defines hate speech as rhetoric that makes students feel unsafe. However, Young Republicans Vice Chair Abraham Kevin denounces the allegations, saying it's the protesters who are the problem.
Honestly, the speakers, they do not invoke violence. It is these protesters that act out of control.
And Students for Socialism vow to protest the events, which are still in planning. So that means the debate over free speech is nowhere near over. This is Andres del Aguila reporting for UNM News.